This was like the beginning of my education into this whole world. It just popped into my mind. I said, what about a bus? Some of our challenges were getting people to buy into that this was a possibility. Like, we would tell people what we wanted to do, and people would go, can you even do that? And I'm like, who says we can't?
The therapy place called and said, I'm sorry, there's no more we could do for Tanner right now. We're just booked out. He happened to miss an appointment the week prior. We went on a camping trip, and that was their justification.
Hi, I'm Lincoln Folkers, the founder and president of Adaptive Heroes. We provide physical, occupational, and speech therapies to people who live in rural and frontier areas of our state. When it's done right, and it's done in a manner that it's caring and people are concerned with the well-being of others, it changes lives. We still have all the tools inside of it that you would find in a regular clinic, but we're mobile. We can go anywhere, and we're not afraid to build buses.
As the population grew here in Mesa County, the therapy services started focusing more on sports medicine. That's where they bumped some kids out. Tanner was affected by that. He was bumped out, and I could really start to see him go downhill. Tanner's decline was in every aspect of life, really. Sorry, I get emotional. So the car ride is where it all began. The therapy place called and said, I'm sorry, there's no more we could do for Tanner right now. We're just booked out. He happened to miss an appointment the week prior. We went on a camping trip, and that was their justification.
I watched a father's heart break, right? Because they canceled his son's therapy again. And he said, you don't understand, when you guys do this, I watch him go backwards. I actually watch him lose ground. With all these therapy clinics that are in the valley, how is that possible that there's not enough time in the day to slot them in?
When you see your kid hurt, there's nothing you can do. It's tough.
He goes, Link, there's not enough time in the day to provide the amount of therapy that is needed in the valley. And I was like, huh. So let's do something about it. Let's start a gym and hire a couple therapists. We've got a nonprofit parked, we've got $168 in the bank. Surely we can do something with that. And so that's where Adaptive Heroes shifted from being this fundraising mechanism to really where it's at today. I think everybody has a purpose, but if you asked me 4 or 5 years ago, why are you here? I don't know that I could have answered that, but I can tell you today, exactly why I'm here. I know what I was put on this planet to do.
Chloe was born with cerebral palsy, and it's a form of cerebral palsy that really prevents her fine motor movements from working as well as yours and I's. It also takes away from a lot of her ability to form words, and that's going to be a challenge that Chloe has her entire life. I remember the first experience was the Parade of Lights. As a parent of the child who was not excited about physical therapy, to see their face light up in an environment that brings physical therapy is overjoying, and I imagine that would be for any parent in that situation.
One of my favorite stories is of a doctor. He's a great friend of mine and one of our biggest champions. But he told me, he said, Lincoln, I love what you guys are trying to do. This was before we ever got the bus. And he said, you're never going to get it off the ground. And I was like, wow, I thought you'd be this ardent supporter. And he goes, no, I support what you're doing. There's so many roadblocks in your way, you'll never get this off the ground. We were coming down the road with the bus, and I was walking out in front of the bus, and he stepped out in the road, and he's like, oh my God, you actually did it. And I told him, I said, your skepticism was the fuel in the tank that I needed to go do it. It's something that woke a passion in me I had no idea that I had.
parents want the best for their child, but they know that that's going to take an hour out of their day for traveling, an hour out of their day for the child to sit and have that therapy. And then oftentimes the parent is asked to continue the therapies at home, which isn't a bad thing, but the burden on the parent can become overwhelming sometimes.
Good job.
I want this to be something that is successful across the nation. There are individuals needing to receive services that oftentimes just aren't because they're not available, or it's too much of an inconvenience for the family.
Tanner will have challenges his whole life. This helps with some of those challenges for sure.
When it comes to this bus, it's the bridge. It's the bridge that connects the kiddos to whatever therapy they need. You have your village helping you raise your kiddo, but they've turned our village into a community.
Improving services and improving lives in general is the most important thing that we can do, right? And showing people truly that they're loved and that they're cared for. And that's what Adaptive Heroes is about. It's bringing the services that are needed.
We're not reinventing the wheel, we're just here to help.
Here's the ask. Organizationally, we're still emerging. As we start working into these new communities, the thing that we would ask for is community support, open minds. Our goal is to move into a community, build capacity, and then put a bus somewhere that doesn't have that same capacity.
Give us a shot. Try this out, and you'll see for yourself.
We do need funding to get started in these, right? We have to have that help to get started. We're a young organization. We don't have a huge fiscal footprint at all. We run things very transparently. We're not trying to take over the world. We're not trying to do this by ourselves. We need financial partners. We need people who will work with us and partner with us organizationally and refer patients to us. And then we really need people at a level in universities, colleges, the community college level, all of that to get in and get involved with us. Because if you want to go into a community and you really want to change it, one organization can't do that. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And so my goal is always to go into a community, build the right partnerships, get the right funding, and then go far.